Hello, I'm Dr. Nazi Zagapur, President of Capacity to Impact, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to our spotlight on identifying and engaging your educational partners in data use. Capacity to Impact, or CTI, is the evaluation partner of the Southern Inland Region Technical Assistance Center, or SURTAC, for the California Community Schools Partnership Program, serving San Bernardino, Riverside, Inyo, and Mono counties. As a research and evaluation partner to solely equity-focused organizations, at CTI, we build the capacity of organizations to use data collaboratively to make a positive impact in communities. We engage our partners to uplift and highlight all voices, particularly among underserved groups, to change systems and programs in ways that better and more equitably serve entire communities. As part of our evaluation work with the SURTAC, we are providing a series of spotlight webinars to help strengthen data use across community schools in the region. In these spotlights, we will share with you some tips and pitfalls in the community schools data use cycle. As you develop and continuously improve your community school, you will no doubt want your decisions at each step to be both data-informed and community-involved. In our series of spotlights on data use, we will share tips for using data collaboratively with your community across each of these steps in the community school cycle. Each of our spotlights will cover one stage of the data use cycle, starting with first identifying and engaging educational partners in the data use process. Then on to how you might prepare for data collection. Next, we'll focus on how to collect quality data. Then we'll cover some tips on data analysis, and finally, on how you might make best use of your findings.
Hi, I'm Devin Larson, the Senior Evaluator at Capacity to Impact.
Hi, I'm Ellie Davis, and I'm the Applied Research and Evaluation Lead at Capacity to Impact.
In this spotlight, we'll be speaking about, first, some reasons for engaging educational and community partners in data collection and use. Second, a process for identifying and selecting educational and community partners to include in data collection. And third, considerations and steps for actually engaging educational and community partners in data collection and use.
So part one, why do we engage educational and community partners in data collection and use? In this section, we will be discussing the benefits of identifying and engaging educational and community partners in data collection and use. We believe that an effective community school is well integrated into the community and serves through involving many partners. Educational partners are those who impact or are impacted by your school. Partners will include students, families, teachers, administrators, and school staff, community school coordinators, and representatives from local organizations. Each of your educational partners has the power to be an agent of change and can contribute to the data use process at your community school in a variety of ways. Your partners will bring valuable insights to the data use process. Everyone is an expert in their own experience. Including your partners is critical to ensure that the perspectives and lived experiences of all groups are represented. In this way, engaging partners can also help to increase equity by highlighting underrepresented perspectives. Your partners can also help bring greater trust and credibility to the data process. As members of your community see their peers taking part in the development of your community school, they will be more likely to trust that community school efforts are in the best interest of themselves and the community. Relationships are also strengthened by engaging your community partners. Involving partners will also helps to build a greater capacity for data use and increases partners' understanding of the school community, making them more informed and effective as partners. One community school shared that they included partners early and frequently in the design of needs and assets assessment by working together to develop questions to ask and methods to use for data collection. This helped their partners feel ownership over the data use process and built commitment to provide their input throughout. These 5 capacity building strategies have been developed by the State Transformational Assistance Center to act as a guide for LEAs and school sites to successfully develop and run a community school. Partner engagement and data use are embedded in each of these 5 strategies because capacity can only be built in active engagement with partners. This document provides indicators and tools to help engage partners in each of the 5 capacity building strategies in your community school. So what can you take away from this section? In part 1, we defined educational partners as those who impact or are impacted by your community schools. We discussed how community partner involvement fosters trust, commitment, accountability, understanding, and equity. And we talked about how capacity is built through actively engaging your educational partners and using data to develop a thriving community school with equitable outcomes.
All right, now that we have established that an effective community school requires partner engagement, how do you choose which educational partners to include in your data use process? As you strive for broad engagement of community voices, it may not be possible to engage every single member of your community in the data use process. So how can you make sure that you include a range of representative voices in an equity-forward way? We recommend developing a partner map to make sure that you equitably represent your community in the data collection and data use process. This slide presents a team mapping template that can be used to map the educational partners within your community to ensure that you are representing key groups. First, you'll want to map out the composition of your community. Include relevant factors such as different racial, ethnic, or religious groups, socioeconomic status, gender identities, various family structures. You'll want to include groups that are particularly important in the makeup of your community. For example, if your community is rural, you may want to include community partners such as rural health clinics or local FFA chapters. Once you've identified the key groups that make up your community, you'll want to consider different sampling strategies to ensure that you have representation from each group. In this way, each partner you include will represent their own experience living in and interacting with a portion of the community and will help you understand the perspectives of the group of interest. When engaged in the data use process, partners will be able to contribute to recommendations for adjusting and improving the school that are relevant to those communities. In the last slide, we talked about using different sampling strategies to ensure that you have representation from each partner group identified in your partner map. Once you have mapped your community, how do you choose the partners? There are a number of strategies you can use. The stratified sampling method involves randomly selecting partners from each of the groups you've identified. Done well, this method provides the most unbiased range of representative voices and experiences across your community. The purposive sampling method involves intentionally selecting partners whose contributions you know have particular relevance to the community school. They may understand specific needs or assets in a unique and valuable way, which needs to be highlighted to ensure equitable representation in your data. Choosing partners this way does introduce bias into the selection process, so you must be careful not to exclude any groups during your selection process and to include a range of perspectives. The snowball sampling method is a convenient method for promoting greater participation in data collection. Once selected partners have been invited to participate in data collection, using either of the methods we just described, they can be encouraged to bring their friends and contacts to participate in data collection as well. Of course, this method also introduces bias, as people may only invite others who are similar to themselves, potentially leading to overrepresentation of one community group while missing key groups identified in your partner map. Now, a word of caution. Engaging a few members of a community group does not necessarily mean that they will be able to provide a comprehensive idea of the experiences of that entire group. This idea is sometimes referred to as tokenism. We offer a few practices that can help you avoid this pitfall. The stratified sampling strategy we shared on the last slide is a way to ensure that all groups or important characteristics of groups are represented in data collection. Choosing a random sample from each group helps to mitigate tokenism and other similar biases. Another important consideration is to try and achieve a sample size that is adequate or proportional to the size of the group. For example, if your rural population is larger than your urban population, you'll want to include a sizable number of partners from your rural areas to ensure that you reach a wide range of perspectives from each group. Using a mix of research methods such as interviews, surveys, listening tours, town halls, journals, focus groups, provide multiple different ways for participants to share their perspectives and experiences, giving you more representative data. Triangulation, analyzing results and trends across these multiple research methods and from multiple data sources, for example, various partner groups from your partner map, helps to ensure that all of these voices and views are represented. If you're interested in learning more about these methods, look for our future spotlights. The third spotlight covers collecting quality data. So what can you take away from this section? Well, in this section, we covered strategies for mapping and sampling partners to include in the data use process to help represent the perspectives of various groups within your community. You may want to remember to map out your community and possible partners. Having done this, be strategic about which community members you engage in the data process, and be careful to avoid tokenism. No one individual represents an entire group or community.
Part 3. How do you engage educational and community partners in data collection and use? In this section, we will share some ideas for how you might engage educational and community partners in the data collection process to benefit your community schools. The way you interact with your partners will affect the level of your partner's engagement in the data use process. Here are some tips we've learned to help build positive rapport and culture around data use. Bring partners into your confidence and demonstrate transparency by engaging partners in all aspects of the data use cycle, from developing your questions to collecting and analyzing data to interpreting and reporting your findings. Demonstrate commitment to your partners by spending time getting to know your community, hearing their stories, and learning about their true needs and assets. In one district, the adults were laser focused on college attainment. In speaking with students, we learned that while students were deeply appreciative of their adults' confidence in their abilities and commitment to their futures, they didn't all want to go directly to college. Some needed to work immediately after graduating, for example. This opened up conversations about career technical education pathways and other certificate options, broadening the opportunities available for students. Finally, be prepared to hear both the bright spots and the concerns from your community. All the best sampling strategies and research methods will be of no avail if your partners are not motivated to participate in data collection. So we want to share some strategies and approaches we have found effective in motivating partners to commit to the process of data collection and data use. Communicate that engagement will help to represent accurately each community member's experiences, needs, and assets to inform programming. Assume a humble posture of learning by reminding yourself that every individual is the expert in their own lived experience. Demonstrate commitment, integrity, reliability, and compassion by responding to the community's concerns. And finally, highlight the community's assets and growth and build on strengths that address needs. Demonstrating to partners that their voice matters in improving effectiveness and positive outcomes for the community school is a powerful motivator for continued and effective engagement. Partner engagement is essential to each stage of the data cycle to generate actionable recommendations for the improvement of your community school. The ways in which you engage partners will differ in each part of the process. Some ways you can engage your partners during each stage include, in the identifying partner stage, encourage community input in identifying groups to include in data collection. In preparing for data collection, engage partners in creating questions that will highlight useful information. In collecting data, leverage partners' access to community groups to collect data. Analyzing data, engage partners to give input on themes that emerge in your data. Finally, in the utilizing data stage, engage partners in developing data-informed action plans. We will dive deeper into ways you can engage partners during each step of the data use cycle in our next spotlights. In this video, we highlight Principal Eddie Franco and Community School Coordinator Katie Gross from Bonneview Elementary. The team from Bonneview shares some successful techniques for engaging community partners in the data use cycle.
A lot of community meetings and activities for parents, so we collect a lot of information from there. We really have an emphasis on the whole child and understanding that we need the partnerships. So we do have parents coming in during our IB evaluations. We meet with parents. I have a parent social on Saturdays that we get input from. What they do is they come in and they're inputting about school while we work on some projects. We have our traditional coffee with the principal, which we use to get the input as well. We have our school site council. Our MTSS team is one of our leadership teams, and it's really a combination of both our IB leadership team and our MTSS team. And so they're the representatives from each grade level as well as different content areas. And they're influential in providing direction and support in terms of goals, vision, challenges. The other things that you can think of?
And our school site council meeting. Did you mention that? Yeah, our school site council, and a lot of our community engagement opportunities for the parents and for our staff and students.
It seems like more of the face-to-face or the in-persons are the ones where we get more the participation, because they get an opportunity to ask questions, kind of clarify. They're more engaged and active. So a lot of those, we have different meetings for different groups that have different kind of perspectives. And so, second language learners, GATE parents, like I said, our school site council is really great. They're representative of all those groups. And then also, I think we have some unique other groups that are here as well. We have a community garden grant that's like $22,000. And what that is a project with staff and parents that come in, and they're also making decisions regarding the gardens and also giving input on the school. So it really is a lot of the face-to-face, bringing parents in. We've had opportunities where we give like our coffee with the principals in the morning on a Thursday. Not all parents can come, and so we've kind of given some other opportunities. So on Saturday is the parent social. Every other Saturday we do the garden committee. So we really try to vary the times to get that input. And I think that's where we've gotten a lot more of the interaction and the response, and also the input, in regards to our needs. Obviously, the online surveys are great as well. They're pretty quick, but again, I don't think we get as much response with that.
The Needs and Assets Assessment Kickoff Meeting Planning Checklist provides a guide for engaging and building the trust of your community through meetings about the Needs and Assets Assessment process. The STAC Needs and Assets Assessment Engagement Plan template explores sample plans for how to involve your community in identifying and aligning purpose for the Needs and Assets Assessment. Finally, here are some resources for developing a timeline that highlights how you will engage partners throughout the data collection process and can help you to ensure partner engagement is included at every stage. You may want to use these templates to develop some effective timelines. What can you take away from this section? So in this section, we discussed how to build rapport with your educational partners to motivate their commitment to the data collection and data use process. We also shared some resources for educational partner engagement.
In our next spotlight, preparing for data collection, we introduced some helpful tips as well as some pitfalls to avoid when determining the purpose of your data collection, formulating your questions, and choosing what data to collect. Thank you for engaging with us in the spotlight. We hope it's been helpful. Look out for our other upcoming spotlights. CTI will also be hosting office hours to answer any questions about data use. These will be posted on the CERTAC website and the CTI website. Please jump in to say hi and ask any questions. You can scan the QR code to access our website and learn more about our equity-focused work.